Hello there, ladies and gentlemen.
Hello there, ladies and gentlemen.
Are you ready to rock? Welcome to episode 15 of Heavy Metal Sunday at Dunsy's, where you get to watch an old heavy metal guy, me, look through an old heavy metal magazine, in this case, Kerrang issue, the clue is in the title, Kerrang issue 15. Well, to my side, I always keep the New Wave of British Heavy Metal Encyclopedia, in case there's any tricky stuff I need to look up. And in a new feature, which I started in last week's one, what are we listening to? What are we listening to today or yesterday? While you're watching this, what you're listening to, I'll tell you what I was listening to before I started this. Now, as always, my camera will be going out of focus, so I need to focus it manually. I listened to Alcatraz, not Graham Bonnet's Alcatraz, the UK version of Alcatraz. Radio 5, good album this. More commercial, I would say, more sort of commercial sounding than the previous Young Blood, but a good album nonetheless. Miles Away, Blinded Communication, Long Time No Love, also featured on the BBC Friday Rock Show session in 1982, which I have to say I actually prefer to this. I mean, I really like this album, but the BBC session just is a bit raw, so please do let me know in the comments what you are listening to. So while I'm doing this, I'm going to be drinking a cup of coffee. So let's get on with it now. I will try and do this in one take. We're already at about 2 minutes or something and I haven't even started yet. So, Kerrang 15, May the 6th to the 19th of 1982. We've gone up to 60 pence. We've gone up 10p since episode 14, but it's still Britain's loudest rock mag. 60 pence, still worth it. So who is featured in this particular episode? Foreigner and All in Colour, Rainbow Part 2. That's right, last week's was 8 pages of Rainbow. UFO, Kiss, GODDO, MAGNUM, Scorpions, Blackfoot, AEROSMITH, JETHRO, TULL, John McCoy and Diamond Head. So that is it. So let's get into it. Mayhem, what's in Mayhem? Scan some of these in for you. Mayhem, Cozy Powell's in Mayhem, he's leaving MSG. Billy Squire, Bernie Tormey. Oh, Bernie Tormey has now quit the Ozzy Osbourne tour and flown home to continue work with his own band, the Electric Gypsies. Bernie was brought in as replacement guitarist after the death of Randy Rhoads, but after completing 7 dates of the American tour, he found himself unable to carry on due to the, quote, emotional pressure. The Electric Gypsies have now rescheduled their tour for early June. I'm going to do a full video on Bernie's time with Ozzy after Randy. So UFO and Saxon co-headliner Summer Festival. We've got Motley Crue reading Kerrang. Vince looking like Johnny Rod there from Wasp. John Sloman, Gene Simmons' old jockstrap studded groin belt fetched a whopping $175 at a rock and roll auction to benefit leukemia. It's a Sunday, I've just started, I'm already talking about Gene Simmons' studded jockstrap. Page 2, Mrs. Thatcher's secret weapon. Who are they now? I'll scan that one in, not sure who that is. Motley Crue debuted a new song at the Santa Monica Civic titled Knock 'em Dead Kid. Obviously pre-second album coming out. Daddy's Home Mallets. Top Cuts is on this page. I've got a sore throat today, sorry folks. I'll scan this one in and you can make your top 30 of your own. This is what's going on in the compiled from requests at the Heavy Metal Night in Colwyn Bay Pier, featuring live on stage Diamond Head. Layla, Derek and the Dominoes, arguably not very heavy metal. For Those About to Rock by AC/DC and Crazy Train by Ozzy Osbourne. Shout the Devil, I don't know why I didn't mention that was Motley Crue's second album. Screamin' and Steamin'. Steve gets a taste of caviar and German nightlife with Foreigner. We've got more Foreigner, Rory Gallagher, Jinx, where did he didn't play Edinburgh on that tour? Played Glasgow, the Glasgow Apollo, Rory Gallagher. Now, my camera goes out, focus quite a lot because when it picks up the bright light of the magazine, it tries to focus elsewhere in the room when I take it away. What's here? Tour news. I'll scan in the tour news for you. Diamond Head, Jethro Tull, Rory Gallagher, the EF band. I saw the EF band in Bathgate. It doesn't mention Bathgate here. But I did see them in Bathgate, that's a true story. Status Quo, Palace. I might have seen Palace in Bathgate at one point. Saracen, Marillion, Spy. This is a Bathgate episode. I did see Spider in Bathgate, that's true. So I'm not making this up, folks. This is true. You can look it up. Prism, Henry Small. Sorry, Henry Small from Prism. There's no one left. It says Henry Paul. Next we have Magnum. The Force is with us. God, Magnum from way back in 1982. Again, you know, like that won't go out of focus because it's catching the aperture light from my camera. Magnum, what's his name? Bob Catley with red hair. And Jethro Tull's Ian Anderson thrusting his crotch forward. I call them cuts. What are they reviewing here? I will tell you what albums are reviewing and then I'll scan in so you can pause and read it at your leisure. So they are looking at Diver Down by Van Halen and the headline is Laugh, I Nearly. Asia. I was never a big fan of Asia, I'm not. Here's a funny thing, I own all the Yes albums up to and including Drama. And I've owned them all for years and I bought them all because they look so cool. And about once every 6 months I will put them on, they're all on vinyl, I'll put them on and I try to get into them, and this must be, you know, over 3 decades. And I'm getting there, I'm getting there. Spider, Rock and Roll Gypsies, Status Quo, 1 + 9 + 8 + 2, Rory Gallagher, Jinx, Jerry Backer on bass, Ted McKinnon on drums, Kiss, Paul Stanley with his short hair, look at that, and GODDO, I believe that to be GODDO, Canadian outfit, GODDO I think. The Bailey Brothers, Heavy Metal Demons, they were on, what was it called? ECT, and Dumpy, he sang about them. I'm a hot lover, I'm a Bailey brother. Britain's wildest heavy metal DJs, the Bailey Brothers. Yeah, these guys had like pretend guitars and would like headbang on the dance floor. Of its time, ladies and gentlemen. Cuts, we still have Anvil. One of the greatest albums ever recorded, one of the greatest heavy metal albums ever recorded. Metal on metal. Wishbone Ash, the best of Wishbone Ash. That Alan Partridge thing. What's your favourite Beatles album? Oh, it would have to be the best of the Beatles. Angel City, known as the Angels, in Australia. Great band. Love the Angels. Night Attack. And then we have the Rainbow Story Part 2. Tons and tons and tons of stuff about Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. Even more stuff about Richie Blackmore's Rainbow. If I hold it closer, does that focus a bit better, but then it all gets a bit dark. Ooh. Rainbow looking very commercial. I guess Stone Cold, that was what was the album, Straight Between the Eyes? Yeah. Quite commercial. Even more. Rainbow, incredible how popular. And I don't mean that to sound so surprised, because Rainbow were a great band, but that's how popular they were in the UK. There was like 8 pages about them in Britain's #1 heavy metal mag. Armed and Ready. Oh, and look, I just mentioned Dumpy's Rusty Nuts. Who's in Armed and Ready this week? Try to do no edits on this. Dumpy's Rusty Nuts, hard rockin' funsters from South London. The Rusty Nuts may yet crack the barriers of fame and fortune with a single they've been trying to get out for a year, just for kicks. So I'll scan these in for you. Salem. I think I said in last week's one that I always loved these photographs when you saw guys like playing flying V's and looking cool. Salem, Hull-based Salem, grew out of the ashes of Ethel the Frog. And it's funny, Armden already has more new bands to watch out for. Merciful Fate. Merciful Fate. Was it Don't Break the Oath has got to be one of the greatest things ever recorded. Here we go. Blackfoot and Samson. So that tour at the Edinburgh Playhouse. Ricky with the Explorer, but it's like is that a Hamer? Is that a Hamer Explorer? Oh, I may need to post that in the Hamer Guitars Facebook group. I'll scan that in, but he seems to be using a Hamer Explorer. I don't think I've seen many pictures of him using the Hamer Explorer. So that was in concerts. That was Blackfoot and Samson from the Assembly Rooms in Derby. Concerts. Meatloaf from the Conference Centre in Brighton. Palace at the Dial in Arrive Alive. I like Palace. That was Ewan Lawson. Still on them. Saxon and Trauma. Oh, Trauma. They had somebody famous in them, of course. Trauma. Limelight. I remember seeing this picture and thought these guys must sound like Rush. Two brothers, I think. The Brothers Scrimshaw. Sounds like something out of Dickens. And Virginia Woolf. Virginia Woolf. Where did I put my heavy metal? On my cat's bed. My heavy metal encyclopedia. What did Virginia Woolf? TVW. Did Virginia Woolf release anything? Please do let me know in the comments. Venom. I see Mantis is no longer in Venom Inc. Virginia Woolf, there we go. Steve Lawrence, Dale Williams, Dave Sheridan, Pete Morgan and Brian Taylor. Oh, pardon me, that was my stomach. Coming up the way. 7-inch single Action on Creole Records and Walkie Talkie on Creole Records 1982, so that was Virginia Woolf. Then we have the legendary Pete Way with his Washburn bass and the legendary Mr. Paul Chapman with his BC Rich and Marshall Stacks. And John McCoy with his legendary Beard. Kilowatt, Rory's Regalia with the sold all Rory's amps and guitars recently. Rory Gallagher explains to Chaz DeWally why he can give the new bands a run for their money but still keep it basic. Contact. Your mag is great, but so far there's been hardly any mention of Lionheart. Could you please tell me if you've got any singles or LPs out there? Is that Rocky Newton and Dennis Stratton, I believe. Now, please do accept my apologies if I get any of this wrong, because I'm doing this from memory and I'm only looking at the Nawabum Encyclopedia if it's something that I'm really stuck on. Pen pals. Tons of pen pals. I don't want to read these out in case I embarrass anybody. At least there's no pictures. I just love how some people introduce themselves. This person is a long-haired female Yeti. We'd like to hear from Gillen lookalikes. Yes, I don't want to... What's this? Anyone interested in something different? The Zero Accumulator thing aims to ring together all you rockers, headbangers and especially hippies who live in the middle of nowhere like me. Send a description of yourself and your news comments on anything under the sun, and if I get enough I might start a magazine. Good grief, that sounds like if you wrote to that you might get more contact than you wanted. Classifieds, Graham Bonnet fan club, Diamond fan club. Oh, talking about Limelight. And Rudolf Schenker, Guitar Heroes, Rudolf Schenker. Rudolf Schenker, a picture of Limelight, Glenn Scrimshaw and the Heed, the Diamond Heed. And I think we're on to the last page. Can I have a quick drink of coffee if that's good? I'll try and find an angry later. We're only at 16:50. I'm motoring through it this week, folks. Episode 15, sorry. Kerrang letters, where do we go? Well, maybe pick a couple of these. Oh, here's a scantily clad Phil Mogg and Paul Chapman in his dressing gown, or his shower robe, that what they're called. I'll maybe scan that in if that's your sort of thing. Here we go. Somebody very angry about Van Halen. It's quite a long one, this, so this might get me up to 20 minutes. Try to make these all about 20 minutes long. Here we go. My God. Strong opening. Does anybody out there really like Van Halen anymore? I refer to the letter from somebody in Kerrang number 12 who actually claims to like those ghastly American bores. Pardon me. He refers to them as, obviously, I won't be able to say that. I'll maybe scanning at my elbow there on my scanner, because I'm scanning all these in when I'm doing this as well. I too saw them support Sabbath in 1978, and very good they were. The Van Halen album is an all-time classic that every heavy metal fan should have a copy of, but it's been downhill ever since then. Their second LP was a weak, mellow affair with only 2 half-decent tracks. He's coming in strong on this one, worst of all is the truly abysmal Women and Children First, which is the most shoddy and unprofessional album I've ever heard, especially the so-called superstars. The songs are limp and the attempts at fast numbers are just a joke, a heap of notes hurriedly thrown together in any old fashion, and there are no decent riffs or choruses to speak of. Maybe this is signed Sammy Hagar. Blah blah blah. I didn't bother to buy the Fair Warning LP. Well, that was a foolish move on this person's part. That is a brilliant album, and I think my favourite era of Van Halen guitar sound for Edward. Fair Warning, and having heard it recently, I'm glad I didn't. All bluesy, tuneless plods that drag along at a tedious pace. As for the live performances, if you can call them that, open brackets, who wants endless white lights, close brackets, a Duff PA rig with no clout, and a choice of songs that was beyond description. Imagine if you went to see your favourite band and they only played their worst songs. Van Halen in a nutshell. Their last tour was awful, barely an hour of music, and most of that was drawn out with endless drum, bass and guitar solos. I mean, who needs 2 drum solos? Now, I've not agreed with much, in fact I've not agreed with anything in this so far, but I do agree there's no need for 2 drum solos. A Van Halen gig, or indeed any gig, unless you're Gene Krupa or something like that. I mean, who they staggered about. Maybe they did stagger about actually. Hopelessly out of time. Eddie Van Halen soloed when he should have riffed, and Dave Roth, this is a Van Halen covers band they're talking about. Dave Roth forgot the words half of the time and kept going ow instead of singing. That's what Dave does. Ow! Got all the pretty ladies here tonight. In between songs, his mouth never stopped flapping. Yeah, true. For a second, at least Ted Nugent and Paul Stanley are a laugh. Roth is just a pain in the arse. They didn't give a toss about the audience, just so long as they plugged the latest album so the punters could go and buy it. Considering they reckon British fans are the greatest, 6 gigs every 2 years or so is an odd reward. Van Halen are the antithesis of everything they said they'd be in 1978, and they become the same old lumbering dinosaur band they set out to be an alternative to, except Led Zeppelin, Deep Purple and Black Sabbath were never as shoddy as Van Halen. Next they'll be doing concept albums and solo albums. God help us. And that is from the Anti-Van Halen League in Scotland. Now that was not me, nothing to do with me. Now the front page did promise us AEROSMITH, and indeed on the back page, Steven Tyler and Joey Kramer. Nice shirt that actually. Steven Tyler. There you go folks, almost 20 minutes. That was Heavy Metal Sunday at Dunsy's, episode 15, where I was looking through Kerrang, issue number 15, Kelly's Eye. Drinking a cup of coffee. Hope you enjoyed that, as ever. Have a great Sunday. Cheers for now.